Is your lawn feeling the heat wave? Deep roots struggle to find water, water deeply in the morning. And mow your grass taller. Never apply fertilizer now. Help your lawn recover.
HEATWAVE lawn care. What to do and what not to do. When temperatures climb into extreme territory and heat waves settle over a region for days or even weeks, lawns come under a level of stress that most homeowners underestimate. Grass is a living organism, and like any living thing, it has limits. Understanding those limits and adjusting care routines accordingly can mean the difference between a lawn that bounces back green and healthy once the heat breaks and one that is scorched, thinned out, or dead in patches for the rest of the season. Experts in turf management consistently emphasize that the instinct many people have during a heat wave is often exactly the wrong one. Doing more is not always better, and in several cases, doing less is the smarter and safer approach. Understanding what heat does to grass. During a heat wave, grass plants experience a combination of stresses: high air temperature, intense sunlight, low soil moisture, and often low humidity that accelerates evaporation. Cool season grasses such as Kentucky bluegrass, ryegrass, and fescue typically begin to struggle once daytime temperatures exceed the mid-80s. Fahrenheit, around 29 to 30 degrees, and warm season grasses like Bermuda, zoysia, and St. Augustine can handle more heat but still suffer when combined with drought conditions. As soil dries out, grass roots cannot draw up enough water to keep the blades hydrated, so the plant enters a defensive mode. Many lawns will naturally go dormant, turning a straw-brown color as a survival mechanism rather than dying outright. This is an important distinction because a dormant lawn and a dead lawn look similar on the surface but require completely different responses. What to do during a heat wave. 1. Water deeply but less frequently. One of the most repeated pieces of advice from horticulturists is to water deeply and infrequently, rather than giving the lawn a light sprinkle every day. A deep watering session, enough to moisten the soil to a depth of about 6 to 8 inches, encourages roots to grow downward in search of moisture, making the grass more resilient. Shallow, frequent watering trains roots to stay near the surface, which makes the lawn even more vulnerable to future dry spells. Most lawns benefit from about 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week during a heat wave, whether from rainfall or irrigation, split across 2 or 3 sessions rather than a single soaking or many small ones. 2. Water early in the morning. Timing matters just as much as volume. Watering between roughly 4 a.m. and 9 a.m. is widely considered ideal because temperatures are cooler, wind is typically calmer, and the water has time to soak into the soil before the sun's heat causes rapid evaporation. Morning watering also allows grass blades to dry out during the day, which reduces the risk of fungal disease that can take hold when foliage stays wet overnight. 3. Raise the mower blade. Taller grass shades its own root system, keeps soil temperatures lower, and reduces moisture loss through evaporation. During a heat wave, most lawn care specialists recommend raising the mower deck so that grass is cut to around 3 to 4 inches, rather than the shorter length that might be used in cooler months. Taller blades also encourages deeper root growth, which helps the lawn access water further down in the soil profile. 4. Mow less, often and only in cool hours. Cutting grass is stressful for the plant under any circumstances, but during extreme heat, it multiplies that stress. Reducing mowing frequency and doing it only in the early morning or evening, when temperatures are lower, helps minimize additional strain. Cutting during the hottest part of the day can scorch the exposed, cut edges of the grass blades and slow recovery. 5. Leave grass clippings on the lawn rather than bagging clippings. Many experts recommend leaving them on the lawn after mowing, a practice sometimes called grass cycling. The clippings decompose quickly and return moisture and nutrients to the soil, acting as a light natural mulch that helps retain water and moderate soil temperature. 6. Keep foot traffic to a minimum. Heat-stressed grass is far more fragile than healthy grass. Blades that are already struggling to retain moisture can be crushed or torn more easily. And because the plant's recovery processes are slowed by heat and drought, any damage from foot traffic, pets, furniture, or equipment tends to heal much more slowly than it would in cooler, well-watered conditions. 7. Consider applying a light layer of mulch in garden beds and borders. While this applies more to garden beds bordering the lawn than to turf itself, mulching nearby soil helps retain moisture in the wider landscape, indirectly reducing the overall heat load and water demand around the lawn's edges. 8. Monitor for pest and disease activity. Heat-stressed lawns are more vulnerable to certain pests, such as chinch bugs and diseases that exploit weakened turf. Keeping an eye out for irregular patches, discoloration, or insect activity allows for early intervention before a small problem becomes a large one. What not to do during a heat wave. 1. Do not fertilize. Applying fertilizer during a heat wave is one of the most common and damaging mistakes homeowners make. Fertilizer encourages new growth, but a heat-stressed lawn does not have the resources to support that growth. Worse, many fertilizers can actually burn already stressed grass, especially if they are not watered in properly. Most experts recommend waiting until temperatures cool down and the lawn is no longer under heat stress before resuming any feeding program. 2. Do not cut the grass too short. Scalping the lawn, cutting it very short in an attempt to reduce mowing frequency or to make it look neat, removes the very leaf surface the plant needs to photosynthesize and shade its own roots. Short grass also allows more sunlight to hit the soil directly, accelerating moisture loss and increasing soil temperature, which further stresses the root system. 3. Do not water lightly and frequently. While it might feel intuitive to give the lawn a quick daily spray to cool it down, this approach does more harm than good. Light, frequent watering keeps only the top inch or so of soil moist, encouraging roots to stay shallow rather than growing deeper in search of water. This makes the lawn less drought-tolerant over time and more dependent on constant watering. 4. Do not water in the middle of the day. Watering under the intense midday sun leads to significant water loss through evaporation before it can reach the root zone. In some cases, water droplets sitting on grass blades can even act like small, magnifying lenses in direct sunlight. Though this effect is often overstated, the bigger issue remains simple inefficiency. Much of the water never makes it into the soil where it is needed. 5. Do not apply herbicides or pesticides. Most weed killers and pesticides are formulated to be applied within a specific temperature range, and many can cause significant damage or even kill grass if applied during periods of extreme heat and drought stress. Product labels often explicitly warn against application above certain temperature thresholds, and heat-stressed grass is far more susceptible to chemical burn than healthy, well-watered turf. 6. Do not aerate or dethatch. Aeration and dethatching are both beneficial lawn care practices, but they are intensely disruptive to the grass plant and its root system. Performing either during a heat wave exposes already stressed roots to further damage and moisture loss, and the lawn will have far less capacity to recover from the wounds created by these processes. 7. Do not overseed. Grass seed needs consistent moisture and moderate temperatures to germinate successfully. Overseeding during a heat wave usually results in poor germination rates, and the tender seedlings that do sprout are extremely vulnerable to the very heat and drought conditions that make overseeding a bad idea in the first place. Most guidance suggests overseeding during cooler shoulder seasons instead. 8. Do not panic over brown grass. Perhaps the most important don't of all is not to panic when a lawn turns brown during a heat wave. As mentioned earlier, many grass species enter a natural dormancy phase to conserve resources during extreme heat and drought. This browning is often a survival strategy rather than a sign of death, and lawns frequently green up again once temperatures, moderate and regular rainfall or irrigation resumes. Overreacting with excessive watering, fertilizer, or reseeding can sometimes cause more damage than the dormancy itself. 9. Do not ignore signs of genuine distress. While dormancy is normal, there is a difference between a uniformly browned, dormant lawn and one with irregular dead patches, thinning in specific areas, or grass that pulls up easily from the soil with no resistance. These can be signs of more serious problems, such as grub damage, fungal disease, or areas that have genuinely died and may need renovation once cooler weather arrives. Long-term strategies for heat resilience. Beyond the immediate do's and don'ts during an active heat wave, many lawn care professionals point out that the best defense against extreme heat is preparation, well before summer arrives. Building healthy soil with good organic matter content improves water retention. Choosing grass species or cultivars suited to the local climate, including heat and drought-tolerant varieties, can dramatically reduce the vulnerability of a lawn to future heat waves. Establishing a consistent, deep watering routine throughout the growing season, rather than reacting only when a heat wave hits, helps the lawn develop the deep root systems that provide natural resilience. The bottom line: caring for a lawn during a heat wave is less about intervention and more about restraint. The instinct to fertilize, cut short, water constantly, or reseed a struggling lawn is understandable, but in nearly every case, these actions add stress rather than relieve it. The more effective approach involves deep and infrequent watering during cool hours, raising the mower height, minimizing traffic and mechanical stress, and, perhaps most importantly, accepting that a browning lawn is often simply resting rather than dying. With patience and the right adjustments, most lawns recover fully once the heat breaks and normal weather patterns return.